IQ, getting it set, looking at ADP. Mike Robb's like, what's ADP? We'll get into it. So I thought it'd be a good time on a Friday for a little round of stretch or steal.
Okay,
That's
cool.
how it'll work. You guys tee up some guys you have some questions about. We'll go through where they are going at NFL.com. That's the ADP that we're using. We'll tell you which round they're going in, and I'll tell you whether I think it's a stretch or steal.
Or steal. All right,
Trades?
let's rock and roll.
Kay, you caused quite a bit of controversy in Minnesota this week when
Shock, horror.
neither Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen were listed on your top wideouts list. And yet I look at the ADP over at NFL.com and where this guy's being taken. Adam Thielen is going in the third round. He's right there, right in the middle there. Third round after T.Y. Hilton, after Keenan Allen. I ask you, is that a stretch to take him in the third? Or is that a steal and a bargain in the third?
I'm going to say it is a stretch. And yes, I understand this is a 1,000-yard receiver, a guy who set records for 100-yard games. But every sign that the Vikings are giving us is that they want to run the ball. They draft Bradbury. You have Kubiak there. And, oh, there we go. We have Kubiak there. And we have all sorts of information about Dalvin Cook and them wanting to run the ball. And they did it last year. So if you take a look at the splits for our guy, Adam Thielen, who we love on this show, and you look at the first 8 games and the last 8 games, I mean, there's a huge,
caught up a little bit.
difference. And this is when Zimmer really started to emphasize running the ball. I like Stephon Diggs over Adam Thielen because I feel like Diggs' skill set off play action is better suited to what this team's going to want to do. It is hard to not take him, and he certainly might be a wide receiver one, but I like Stephon Diggs more. I like Tyreek Hill a lot more, and on NFL.com, Tyreek Hill's going behind Adam Thielen. I like Amari Cooper more than I like Thielen, so this is a bit of a stretch for me to take him super early among wide receivers.
Pico or Tippy was taking Thielen before Hill?
Look at this.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
All right.
And if you look at this is, by the way, those final 8 games, Zay Jones outscored him in the final 8 games. If they continue to do this with a healthy Dalvin Cook to start the season.
It's a good point. They also fired their offensive coordinator midway through the season, so maybe he got the bulk of his numbers with DeFilippo.
Who was throwing the ball all over.
And then they changed
He wants to run the ball because Zimmer was very uncomfortable with how much as they threw it in the first 8 games. So I think we're going to see regression for both of those receivers. But if I had to pick one, it's Stephon Diggs.
Okay, let's do another one. The players who struggle with injuries, to draft or not to draft. It's frustrating. I used to draft Fred Taylor every year, and then we get hurt. It was tough. Carson Wentz has not played a full season in 2 years. He is being taken currently in the 11th round. The QB1 for Philadelphia Eagles, Adams, stretch or steal?
This is the biggest steal of the draft. Where is he going? In the 11th round of NFL drafts. Biggest steal I have seen. He's going 20 picks after Jared Goff. No way. This offense is totally loaded. The only question you have is about health. And I think that he will stay healthy because I believe in Roseman, in letting Foles walk. I believe in the confidence they have in their quarterback. And if you look at what he did when he was healthy out there on the field without Deshaun Jackson, without some of the weapons that he even has now, he looked awesome. He was a top 6 fantasy quarterback. I feel like people are scared by the injuries, and therein you find his value. Massive extension, collection of weapons. This guy is going to ball out this year. I'm grabbing him earlier than this. This is could be a top 5 quarterback.
And here's the thing, it's fantasy football, so if you draft him, you could also draft another quarterback if you're worried about injuries. It's not like you have Nate Sudfeld as his backup. You could take another guy.
Totally. I have him as my number 7 quarterback when I created rankings, and I have him ahead of Drew Brees this year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's right. Hedge your bet. And Mike, you were saying MVP.
Yeah, I mean, when he's healthy, I mean, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the game. So I agree with you. But you did talk about health, right? Health. We got another player, Todd Gurley. Big question marks around Todd Gurley. I think right now on NFL.com he's being taken in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So is this a stretch or a steal for Todd Gurley?
Being taken in the 2nd round, I'm going to go ahead and say that is a stretch. Never mind. I guess we don't even need this thing because we're looking to flip.
All right, here we go, baby.
And that's okay. I think it's a stretch because there are some concerns that I have. There's no reason to think that this might not change as the weeks go by and we see more of him. But the fact that it's very nebulous what's coming out of LA with the arthritis and what's been going on. 47 yards combined in the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. I feel like the uncertainty is why I wouldn't want him to be my 1st round running back or even early in the 2nd round. So it's hard for me to take him there because then you're taking him over guys like David Johnson, James Conner. I'd rather have Joe Mixon. So I really do. I mean, so I feel like the reward not worth the risk of taking him. I know he has touchdowns, 40 in the past.
He gets in the zone.
2 years, 21 last year. I just don't feel comfortable with him right now as my surefire run RB1. I'd rather take Joe Mixon, like in a landslide.
Yeah, I do think they're going to limit some of his reps, especially early, so that, those 47 yards you talked about later on in the season, so that he can get more yards, so he can be more available later on in the season. But we'll see. They're going to manage him.
I don't like managing workload with my RB1. I really don't.
Don't you think on drafting he's one of those guys you're like, I hope someone else takes him. Like, I don't want to make the decision. I'm very vexed about Gurley. I just hope someone else goes to it so I can go for more of a sure thing. There's an intrigue that I don't want to deal with.
But the two guys right in back of him, David Johnson, and you're looking at a guy like James Conner, who are you more comfortable taking? Think about it. You're at the draft. You have to take one of those three guys. Is it Todd Gurley?
No. I'm going to ride with the Cardinals this year and the high end of that offense, and I'll go with Johnson just to take a shot.
David Johnson.
But I'm crazy.
Really?
I'm nuts. Yeah. He's the expert. I don't know.
He's taking Kyler Murray number one.
I am.
And it might be the smartest decision in the draft.
Steve Keim.
That's it. Fantasy leagues are really won not only with your first and second round picks, but like the later round guys. If you get one of those steals, okay, I'm going to ask you a name right now. Steelers wide receiver, not Juju.
Who you got?
Going with Dante Moncrief.
Juju.
Not Juju. Dante Moncrief is currently drafted in the 15th round.
This is embarrassing.
It's number 2 guy on the Steelers depth chart. What do you say, steal or stretch?
Steal. The last time we've seen this guy score 7 touchdowns in just 9 games with Andrew Luck. He has Big Ben as his quarterback, and this is what happens when everybody focuses on Juju and Antonio Brown. You forget about the fact that there are so many targets, about 170, that need to be split up. But you're paying a 15th round price, depth on your wide receiver chart, for a wide receiver 2 talent who will have wide receiver 1 target volume. If you look at what Juju had, about 160 targets last year. So if he gets even just 40 of what Antonio Brown left behind, there's still about 100 targets up for grabs, even if they run the ball. So to me, Dante Moncrief, a healthy guy who's really turning heads at camp, as I've heard from plenty of reporters here at NFL Network. 15th round, this is the biggest steal in draft to me right now.
Yeah, I think that dude is a steal. He's actually, physically, he's a beast. It's just about him actually believing in himself and going out there and doing it. I'm not hearing the same thing, Kay.
Yeah.
And he's turning a lot of heads.
This is gold. Because in the 15th round, half the people are drunk or asleep or tuned out. They're not paying attention. You grab Moncrief at 15. That's what I'm saying. Or like their third defense. Get Moncrief. This is where you win the league. I mean it.
He'll have the volume. He has a great quarterback in the 15th round for a guy who's at least going to be a wide receiver too. The question again about health. I find all the steals in the draft usually come with bad taste in fantasy owners' mouths about what they've done in years past. So hopefully he can stay healthy. More to come on Good Morning Football. Michael Thomas live on ITC. We will hop around from camp to camp as always. And a crazy finish last night.